All right. Welcome, everybody. We are very happy to have you here. This webinar is about the newest software release from Centreon 2404. I'm here with part of the product management team, Niels, Olivier, and Laurent. My name is Pierrick Martel. I'm in charge of product marketing at Centreon, and Fabrice is with me. He's the director of The Watch, where you can ask questions and get answers, and is here to help me with the logistics. Today, we will cover a few topics. The biggest one is the new Centreon dashboard feature, and that will take probably about 15 minutes. And then we'll look at more minor improvement on the user experience, on resource status. We'll discuss APIs, more improvement to our configuration APIs, a few information about the platform consideration, operating system, database, and then a big part also of the agenda, which is about a Centreon agent. We will end this webinar with a questions and answer session, so you can ask your questions on the right-hand side. There is two panels, one for chat, one for questions. I ask people to ask questions in the Ask the Speaker, and usually ask the questions in the chat room. That's okay. We'll manage. Ask your questions whenever you want, but we will only answer them at the end of the webinar. All right, I will ask now Niels to join me on stage. Hello, Niels. Your turn.
Hello. Let's go. So, Centreon dashboard. So, so with 2404, Centreon dashboard will now be declared general availability. So first, a bit of context of why we did it. So it's kind of obvious, but the dashboard is really the main component for data visualization. This is the component that would allow you to build some kind of business visibility from the technical data collected by Centreon. So we needed to modernize this component on several aspects. First of all, look and feel. So we needed to have a more modern look and feel. But more important than that, we needed to allow you to provide you with more possibility in terms of customization and to build a representation that really fit your needs. And last but not least, we needed also to revisit the way you would be able to share those representations, those visualization with other users, other personas, I would say. So how we did it? So if you are a bit aware of the news of Centreon, you know that Centreon dashboard was released as a beta version with 23.10. And so what we did during the last 6-7 months during this beta phase was to collect as many feedback as we could from our early adopters and to implement those feedbacks and revisit a bit the way revisit a bit our proposition. So we have been implementing feedback on dataset selection, visualization, saving on the dashboard, responsiveness, so many aspects. So this was a very important period of time for us to be sure that what we are building is really what would fit the needs of most of our users. What we've done also is that we have enriched our library of widgets. So we now have 9 widgets available. I will get through them in a minute and show you them also on a demo later on. We have added also a new index of the dashboards with a listing view with more information. We have also added the duplicate feature, and last but not least, we have implemented what we call the playlist feature, which allows you to put several dashboards in a playlist and make them being broadcasted one by one on, for instance, TV set or this kind of things. Few things to be aware. So we have a SaaS proposition of Centreon, and so we will keep enriching Centreon dashboards with new features, and all those new features will be available first on Centreon Cloud, because we are delivering a Centreon Cloud version every month currently, and we will progressively increase the pace. For now, the widgets available do not include business activities or MBI. This is something that will come in a second step. And last thing to be aware of is that those playlists I was talking about are currently on authenticated mode. So we are working on an unauthenticated mode because we know that it's more convenient for display on TV set and things like that. But before making that available to you, we wanted to really make sure that the security standards that we have on Centreon are fully covered. So just a quick overview of the widgets that are currently available with the 24.4 version. So first one is generic text, just a basic widget that would allow you to put labels on your dashboard to make sections, separate sections, and things like that. After that, we have two main kind of widgets, the one that are dedicated to display metrics and the one that are dedicated to display status. So we have, for metrics, we have one single metric, which will display the current value of a metric on a graphical way with gauge or bar charts or these kind of things. After that, we have a generic metric graph widget, which would allow you to display several metrics on one graph on a given time period, last 3 hours, last day, these kind of things. Don't worry, I will show you that on a real platform in a minute. After that, top, bottom, so you select a metric for a group of resources, and you will be able to display the one with the highest value or the one with the lowest value. Then we have a widget which represents status. So we have a status grid to display resources, statuses of resources in the form of a grid, as it says. After that, we have a resource table, which I would call some kind of resource status light. So you have a table, you put a filter, and you have on the resource that you filtered on the table. After that, you have group monitoring, which would represent the status of the resources, of the selected resources in the form of graphs. Like gauge, this kind of thing. Sorry, group monitoring is a bit the same of resource status, and it's represented as groups like host group or service group. And this is status chart that will represent this as a chart, like I was saying, like pie chart or donut, this kind of representation. And last but not least, we have the map widget that allows you to put your map on your dashboard and put some context on those maps. So if I'm
Let's do a demo.
manage to do it, I will do a demo.
Share your screen. Maybe I will put the screen in bigger.
I got it. That should be fine. It looks like I'm a Bizabo expert now. So it's okay, Pierrick, everything fine?
Everything is fine. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So first representation of the listing of dashboard is this tile representation. But as I was saying, we have added also a list representation where you have more information, and you have information about the group, the contact, or the group of contacts that you have shared the dashboard with the role you have added to those contact or contact groups. So we have two roles, one editor and one viewer. So as you can imagine, if you share the dashboard with another user in viewer mode, it will only be able to visualize the dashboard. And if you share it in editor mode, then it will also be able to modify the dashboard itself. And you have other information about who created the dashboard, the creation data, and things like that. So you have a possibility to edit the properties of the dashboard, to duplicate the dashboard, as I was saying, and to delete it. And yeah, this is how you would share the data. So it's a demo platform, so I do not have so many users on it. But yeah, I mean, you have contact and contact group, and this is where you share the dashboard, which means that it will immediately be available on the Centreon platform of the user when he will connect. And as I was saying, the two roles, viewer and editor. And from this view, you can also like delete the sharing of the dashboard to remove the dashboard from the user's view. You can also directly copy the link and share it with your colleagues, and then you can access directly the dashboard after login, of course. And now I suggest that we will create a quick dashboard. So let's create the famous webinar dashboard. So this is the edit view where you can design your dashboard, and you can add a widget. So I suggest that we will create a metric graph widget, very common. And so you have let's say common settings for all widgets with title, description, these kind of things. And on the bottom section, you have settings that are dedicated to this kind of widget. So I've been a bit fast on it, but you can see that here in the widget type that you can select, you have the 9 widgets I was mentioning earlier. So here on the bottom side, as I was saying, you have the specific settings for this kind of widget. And here we want to make a metric graph widget. So you can select the time period if you want to display the data over the last hour, last 3 hours, etc. You can also display the threshold, and you can display the thresholds coming that are configured on Centreon by default, or if you want to have another visualization, then you can also put your custom thresholds here that will apply only on the visualization. It will not have any impact on the alerting and so on. So you can also decide not to show the threshold. You can also configure the refresh interval. So either you choose to have the same refresh interval as the whole dashboard, or you can also select a dedicated refresh interval for this specific widget. Now, maybe the most interesting part is how you would select the data. So I've used this section here, so you know that it's a metric kind of widget because you have the metric selection here. But before that, you can select on which resources you want to display the metric. So let's choose a host group. I will choose the firewall host group, and then you can add other filters. So if you put several host group here, that will be all the metrics that are on any of those host group. And after that, you can refine this and put, for instance, another filter. And let's say you would just want the metrics from those like 4 hosts, let's say. And after that, you can select a metric for this. If you expand here, you will also have where this metric is available. And let's say I will choose this one, and you see that you have the data displayed in the form of a graph. So this is for metric widget, I would say. I would also, because I'm quite fast, I will be able to demonstrate also status kind of widget. So let's go with status grid. So here, as I was saying, so you still have those generic settings, and then you have specific settings for this particular widget. So different from the previous one. So here I will start with the data selection because on the preview it will be more visual. So let's say I choose this host group for which I want to display status. So now I will be able to choose which status I want to display. For instance, I'm adding all the status. And I can choose to display either the hosts or the services that are contained in those hosts. And I was saying, maybe you're not really interested in OK or up resources, so you can remove them from here and select which resources you want to display according to their status. Same here, refresh interval. You can choose to have a different one than the generic dashboard ones. And you have your dashboard. So after that, which is really also interesting, is that you can really choose your layout, I would say, choose how you want to display your, it's really flexible. It's way more flexible than it was used to be. And then you can really make the representation that you want. So if I just go through a dashboard that I've prepared earlier, so of course I picked on playlists, was dashboard, just to give you a quick overview of all the widget instantiated, sorry. So you have widget text that would allow you, as I was saying, to separate the different section of your dashboard. Here you have the status grid that I've just shown. You have a map widget here. You have the resource table widget here, which is a resource status light, I would say. Group monitoring, on which you can display service group, post group, and the resources associated with those groups. You have the status chart. You select also the same. You select the resources that you want to display on those charts, and you have the distribution of status of those resources. Graph, we've seen it, top and bottom. As I was saying, you select a specific metric for the resources, and you will see which one has the highest value or which one has the lowest value in case of bottom. And you have the single metric one, which allows you just to display the current value of a metric with the threshold. So here it's gauge, but you can also select to have simple text or bar graph, for instance. So those are the 9 widgets currently available. Yes, Pierre, you wanted to say something?
Great. I love the flexibility where you can change the widgets, drag and drop and change the
Yeah,
size and no more fixed columns. So that's
absolutely. No,
great.
very convenient. Great progress. And last thing that I wanted to show you is the playlists, so which is also really nice. So you can define playlists. You have the listing here, nothing special. But when you go to the properties, so you can give a name and a description, okay. And after that, you can select the list of dashboards which will be part of this playlist. So we have a new webinar one that we can add to the list. And after that, with a simple drag and drop, you can select the order of the dashboards that you want to display. And finally, you can select how long each dashboard will be displayed before going to the next one. And if we just display it, what it looks like this. And I will even add something which is going really well, another feature which is going really well, also a new feature with the 2404, or revisited feature, I would say, which is a full screen. And now you can display the dashboard in the form of a playlist in full screen mode. And if we are patient enough, you see it switches from one widget to the other.
One dashboard to the other.
One dashboard to the other, sorry.
Great.
So this is what I have to show you today. So if you have questions, I think the question is for the end of the session, right?
Yes, don't hesitate to ask your questions on the right-hand side, one of the two tools, and we will answer them at the end of the day. Now, this is very, very nice and much better and much more modern than the traditional custom views. Can we just reassure everybody that we are not removing custom views anytime
absolutely.
soon? Because people have invested a lot of time creating their custom views, and obviously they still work on 2004, no problem. But our R&D investment now is on this new dashboards feature, and we will announce it in the coming months and coming release.
Yeah, we definitely encourage you to use this new feature. You have so many more possibilities with that compared to custom view. So we really suggest that you make a smooth transition from the custom view to the dashboard. But as Pierrick, as you said, we do not plan to deprecate the custom view anytime soon. You have all the time that you need to let's say migrate from the custom view to the dashboards.
And again, this is general availability, so this is not beta anymore. And for those who have tested the beta version, thank you very much for all your comments. And we have done a lot of improvements, including in the data selection, to make creating dashboards, a much easier task with this general availability version in 2404. So thank you for the beta tester, and this version is much better because of your feedbacks.
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe it's time for another topic, in which case I will ask Laurent. Welcome, Laurent.
Welcome, everybody.
I will let you move the slides.
Okay. So let's continue with user experience. As you know, version after version, we try to continue to improve our application, and we continue to improve resource status page. So what we did, we add in the detail panel of a resource a possibility to perform action, so to add or remove acknowledgement, to schedule a downtime, or to recheck the resource. And in the timeline panel, we added the possibility to set comments. So let's go for a demonstration. Let me share my screen. Okay. And from that,
you need to add. Let me add your
oh
screen.
yes, you're right.
Here it is.
Thank you.
New user interface for Bizabo.
Yes. And from dashboard, we offer the possibility to move to a resource status based on your widget settings. So, for example, here I'm looking for a firewall. So if I check the configuration of the widget is based on the host group firewall. And if I click here on this new icon, I move to resource status page, and this page is filtered by exactly the same parameter I used to configure my widget.
So there is a direct link from the dashboards to the resource status, exactly on the same resources.
And if I click, for example, here on a resource in don't status, I will access to a resource status, but the panel of the resource will be opened. And from this panel, I can add acknowledgement directly from here. I can remove it, set a downtime, replay and check or for check, depending on what you want. And as I said, from the timeline, I can add a comment directly from here, and the comment will be displayed directly in the timeline. So the goal is to help you to take action on resources the most rapid you can.
Yes, so you have a direct link either from the widget or the resources, and we have added all these buttons to have direct actions or that possibility to have comments from a timeline. That's just about productivity and being efficient. That's a great improvement. Thank you, Laurent, for these improvements. Next topic is about APIs.
Yes. So with 23.10, we added a lot of endpoints to configure resources. And with this new version of Centreon, we continue to improve our API. The goal is in the long term, not short term, but in the long term, to replace Clappy and API v1. So we added the possibility to configure more parameters on all service, severity, and business activity, to upload media, to configure connectors, to configure and list graph templates, and configure broker output. So do not hesitate to have a look to our documentation that will explain you what are the possibilities with our APIs. And to use more easily these APIs, we added the possibility to configure application-based API token from the user interface. The goal is to help you to automate configuration from ITSM tools, automation tools, or CMDB. So you create a token based on duration. So custom duration can be 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. And this token is linked to a contact into Centreon to benefit from the ACS, the privileges of this user. You can create many tokens on the same user, one token per application. You can disable a token, revoke a token. And this to help you to improve API usage by removing the logging and password phase to retrieve a token. Now you can call directly the API with this application-based token.
Okay. Let's see an example of a use case.
Yeah, so here is the web interface. So it's really easy to configure a token. Don't forget to copy your token when you generate it because it's impossible to read it again. And a use case, so I choose ServiceNow, but it could be any CMDB or ITSM tools having a webhook. And with this webhook, when you create a workflow in your ITSM tools, you can configure Centreon. So for example, you add a new resource into the CMDB. When you serve this resource and your workflow, you can directly configure, add this resource into Centreon using the APIs. Then when you move your resource in production, your CMDB can call Centreon and say, okay, now you can start the monitoring of this resource. So the goal is really to automate the configuration and the monitoring of your resources using these new APIs and application-based API tokens.
Great. Much requested feature by all our customers who do full automation, especially when they have very large infrastructure. Some of our customers monitor, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 devices, resources with Centreon. They do it fully automatically. Okay, let's discuss now the platform operating system database versions.
Yes, with the new major version of Centreon, there is some dependency changes. So now the 24.4 will support Debian 12 with Debian 11, Enterprise Unix 8 and 9. This new version will also support MySQL 8 with, of course, MariaDB. And we moved to the latest LTS version of MariaDB, so to the version 10.11. Of course, our documentation will be updated when you want to install a new server to explain you how to use Debian 12 and use MySQL 8. And if you update to this new major version, how to upgrade MariaDB to the latest LTS version.
Right. I think you have a slide with a summary of all releases and supported.
Yes. So because 24.4 will be released soon, it means that the 22.4 will be end of life. For the 22.10, this version is in phase 2, so 6 months before the end of life. The 23.4 still 1 year of support, but now in phase 2, so only critical fixes and vulnerabilities. The 23.10 is still in phase 1 for the 18 months. And now, as you can see, the 24.4 will be released for Enterprise Unix 8, 9, Debian 11, Debian 12. And just to notice, Debian 11 will be supported for the 24.4, but maybe not for the next major release because the end of life of Debian 11 will be incompatible with end of life for the next major release. So if you have to install a new server and you prefer Debian, maybe prefer Debian 12. But as you know, upgrade your operating system on Debian, it's easy.
Okay. So we will have a questions on that and we will answer it at the end, but exactly on that topic. Just to make sure everybody gets it when we say 22 04 is not supported anymore, it means that we will not provide any more security patches for this version. So if you are running 2204, well, it's more than time to upgrade to a newer version, whichever version here, so that you can benefit from security patches in case there would be a vulnerability appearing. All right. Well, maybe we can answer one or two questions right away. What about Alma Linux?
Yes. When I talk about enterprise Linux, it means Red Hat, it means Alma Linux and Oracle Linux.
Yes, so that is a shortcut for Alma Linux, Oracle Linux, and Red Hat Linux. So it didn't disappear. And the questions about Ubuntu.
Ubuntu is not yet supported. We are thinking to add this in the list of supported operating system, but it's not yet supported.
All right. Thank you, Laurent. I think I will now ask Olivier to join us here on stage to discuss a big topic. I will let you move the slides with a little arrow on top. Yes, big topic. Your turn, Olivier.
Thank you. So the topic is Centreon agent question mark. Why this question mark? Because it's not a part of the 2404 release. Spoiler, not yet. So first, why we did it? Centreon is known for its ability to monitor without agents, but we had to use agents for some purposes or some use case. So mainly, we relied on an RPE protocol and NSClient++ agent. So today, NSClient++ is, well, we considered it as deprecated. However, it has been updated this year, but I'm not sure we can rely on it. Nagios has stopped NRPE, has stopped maintaining NRPE, and CPA is not legally usable with anything else than Nagios. And we have to recognize that monitoring is evolving towards observability nowadays, and the passive monitoring is getting more and more demand. There's more and more demand for it. So we decided to adapt our strategy towards agents. How we did it? We chose OpenTelemetry because it has become a standard in the observability world. It includes a lot of tools. It's a rich ecosystem. It's an open source framework, and this actually matters to us. And a lot of other editors have already adopted it, so we're not stubborn, and we chose that. Before speaking about the architecture, let's speak objectives. So what we want is our first objective is to handle metrics. OpenTelemetry is about metrics, logs, and traces. Our first step will be metrics. So first, we want to produce OpenTelemetry metrics, and the first use case will be replacement of NSClient, maybe 2 replacements. Then we have to be able to ingest them from any provider of telemetry data, and then be able to send them to other to third-party collectors in order to be a part of the OpenTelemetry ecosystem. the logs and traces is more of a long-term idea for us. I'm not going to explain our whole roadmap, but let's talk about our first two milestones. The first one, which is part of this new release 2404, is an integration of an existing agent, which is called Telegraph, that you may already know. It has two very interesting features for us. First one is it's able to run custom commands, commands and send the results of it, such as the output, the status code, and well, the result of the command to encapsulated in metrics, in hotel metrics. And it has also the ability to get configuration from HTTP server. So what we did is we added to Engine a configuration server that it's a simple web server that gives the configuration, and then a collector for OpenTelemetry, and the Telegraph agent gets the information from the configuration and send the results of the commands to our OpenTelemetry collector. And then Engine checks if the service or the host is known. That means if it's configured in Engine, and if yes, it becomes a regular host or service status and is sent to the central server. So this is our first step. The next one, not released in 2404, will be an agent of our production, developed by us. We have we have plans to make other things with it, but the first two enhancements will be to work around limitations that we met with Telegraph. The first one is that the configuration server, if you change the configuration provided by the configuration server, then Telegraph will not get it. It gets the configuration only at start time. So we were not pleased with that. And the configuration can only be obtained by connecting from the agent to the Polar. So this, in the case of DMZ, where there is no Polar, it cannot be done, because you can't open a connection from the DMZ to the another network. So to the first limitations that we will fix are these two ones, these two limitations, with an agent that will be able to connect to Engine or to be connected to by Engine. It will be a gRPC stream, and that will be bidirectional, and the configuration can go from one way to the other, and the data from the in the other way. And then the same treatment is done. If the metrics are recognized, then they are converted into a host or service status. And that's all for the short term. If you want to know more about what we could do later, you can contact us, and we will talk about our roadmap.
Yeah, so the reason why we are talking about this today, although it's, the beta, this new agent is only available as a beta status this summer, is because you will need 2404 in order to use this agent. So during the summer, on the watch, we'll ask you, to contribute, to be beta user, to test the agents, to give us your feedbacks, and at that time you will need some 24/4 platform around to play with it. So this is why we are discussing it today. So this is a new era for Centreon. We will still be an agentless solution in order to monitor all the operational technologies or everything which is in the physical world somewhere, and all the network equipments and security equipments and so on and so forth. But for the servers, VM, and things in the data center or in the cloud, sometimes an agent can be very convenient. This is for Linux or Windows Server typically. So we will become, both agent and agentless solutions, which is two great story for this webinar: the new Centreon dashboards and a new roadmap for a Centreon agent. Well, I think it is time for the question and answer, although I will first correct a little mistake that we have in the slide. Laurent Pincevy, will be punished because there was apparently a mistake in the slide. In 2304, Enterprise Linux 7 is not supported, and Laurent will join on stage to comment that. Am I right?
Yes, sorry, it was a mistake.
Okay, so that's the corrected slides. And the
But
first
Alma
question.
Linux 9 is for 23 or
Yes.
4. So it's not 7,
So I
it's 9.
I could even change the slide,
Yeah.
more and add Linux 5. Okay. So many differences. In fact, we have a very first questions on this is about, can I, let me read the questions loud. Can we upgrade to 2404 and then afterwards upgrade to Debian 12?
Yes, of course, because we will deliver Debian 11 for 24.4, so you can first migrate to the latest version of Centreon, then upgrade your operating system.
Yes, in fact, this is the very reason why this 2404 is very important, because it supports both Debian 11 and Debian 12. It's probably maybe the last one to do so. So this is the one where you can do exactly that kind of upgrade, 2404 and then your operating system, and then migrate to 2410 and 2504 and so on and so forth. So the answer is yes. We have a questions about will the new agent be able to run some user developed custom scripts, just run scripts that users have developed?
Yes,
Olivier?
sure. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so this agent
The
can
same
run
way,
scripts.
the same way you can do it with NS client.
Okay, good.
The same. We want to. It won't work exactly the same way as NS client, of course, but we want to be ISO functional with it.
Okay. Well, there is a questions about one of the IDs in the watch. On the watch, you can contribute your IDs, which are your requests for improvements, so that the product management team can decide, which one to implement depending on the votes. And one is about implementing the dependencies between a parent and a child, or a host and another host. Is it something planned somewhere? Laurent,
Well,
maybe, or Niels?
I just checked on the votes, and the status of the ID is need votes, which is the status on which we put IDs for the community to express themselves about how much they like the ID or they support the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that unfortunately this ID did not get so many votes, so it's still a need vote. It's still possible for you to promote the ID somehow to your peers or things like that. But as it is now, it's possible that it does not make its way on our backlog
In the short term.
in the short term.
Okay. All right.
I would just take the chance to say we are really thankful to the users that submitted this ID, and do not hesitate to go on IDs of others and vote. It's really helpful for us to decide which features are more important for our community. So do not hesitate to put IDs and to vote on ideas of other users.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? We are about time. I think we planned for 45 minutes. That is 45 minutes, but we could run a few minutes more if necessary. No more questions. Anyway, you will receive a replay. I'm looking at my two screens. Yes. All right. So will there be a REST API endpoints for applying the host template?
Yes. Yes. We know that we didn't develop this endpoint, and yes, it's in progress.
Okay, work is in
It will
progress.
arrive soon. Yes.
It will arrive soon. Do you think it will arrive on an minor version of 24.04,
yes.
or is it on 24.10?
No, maybe in the minor version of 24.4.
All right. Okay. Very good. We have a few minutes to take more questions if you want. Well, there is maybe one thing that we haven't discussed is when is 24.04 available, and this is next Tuesday. That's the plan. I say tentative date because quality and assurance team is working 24/7 to test everything, and in case they would find a big problem that we couldn't fix, we could move the date. In fact, it sounds good for Tuesday, except maybe Debian 12 packages. We'll see. Anyway, the way to know about it is to look at the watch. There is a product update sections, and this is where we will publish 24.04 saying, hey, this is available, this is the blog post, this is the release notes, this is it. So please, if you're waiting for 24.04, watch the watch or subscribe to the product updates. What about the new notification model which was implemented in Centreon Cloud, Laurent? Another question.
Okay. The new way, in fact, we developed a new way to configure a notification on Centreon Cloud. We know that currently it's still complex to configure notification on premise because you have to select how contacts should be notified for host, for service. You need to select notification options, notification periods. Then you need on resources to select contact group, to select filters. So in only one way, one menu on Centreon Cloud, you can select resources, you can select contact, you can select the way to notify, and that's all. So you have the complete vision of who will receive a notification, how, and for which resources.
Okay, thank you. Niels will answer that question about BAM and maybe also MBI in dashboards. It's not available today. When will it be available?
So depends if you are talking about the cloud version or the on-prem version. So for the cloud version, as I was saying, we are quite in a continuous delivery model. So I think that BAM and MBI will be included in the dashboard in the coming months. But if we are talking about the on-prem versions, it will be for the next major version.
So 24.10.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, you can still ask your questions. We are here for 1 minute. We will close at 50. Who wants to be the last one to ask a question? No more questions. Well, thank you everybody for joining this last minute. 2 questions. Enrique, which is the minimum recommended version to upgrade to 24.04? Laurent.
Oh, you can upgrade from 21.4, but all versions since 20.10.
So you can use a very old version, 20.10, and it should work. We support upgrading from old versions to 24.4. It will take some time, but it should work. Is it planned to make BAM able to use host group and service groups? That would maybe require more context, Niels.
Well, yeah, I'm
Laurent?
not entirely sure that I understand the question, because as of today there is no status for host group and service group, so that's kind of weird. But yes, we do not really have some plan to do that. That might be also a good things to put the idea in the watch in order to see what the
With the explanation of a use case, you know, your use case and what is missing from the product, maybe your suggestions on how to implement it, but you know, the use case so that we can think of other ways to implement it, maybe. All right. Now I need to close the webinar because it will stop anyway. Otherwise, thank you all for your questions, for being here, and you know, watch for the watch on 24/4, and I hope you will enjoy it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.